What's something people romanticize that actually sucks in real life?
Being a broke artist used up 90% of my brain's creativity trying to come up with ways to pay rent.
Being a night owl, I have very bad sleep insomnia, and the world is also made for morning people. Just all around sucks.
Having chronic illness and not being able to work. People say, I wish I could just sit around and do nothing. Which, by the way, I never do, or I would have checked out a long time ago. I'm always productive to some capacity and, in fact, don't have enough time in the day to get what I want done.
Sex on a plane is not that great. It's actually the exact opposite. It's terrible. Don't try to join the Mile High Club. It's a total scam. People who have done it before just want you to suffer like they suffered.
Small town living. It sucks to grow up in a town where you go to school with largely the same group of kids every year from kindergarten to high school, where the nearest movie theatre is a half-hour drive, and going to a concert required making plans for the day to get there and back. 2 gas stations, 5 churches, and a shrinking school budget. Hallmark movies can go to hell.
Who was the most evil person you've ever met, and how was the interaction?
I'm a prosecutor. You'd think it's a murderer or something, but it's not. It's an insurance fraud guy. He set up a fake medical practice and ran tens of thousands and actually hurt people through it. No one ever got better, but he made millions.
In my sociology class, we got to go to a prison and interview a person who had murdered 5 people. He didn't seem to be bothered about killing them and was really excited he got to talk about himself to other people. First time I truly understood what a psychopath was.
My coworker's ex. While she was with him, she confided in me about how horrifically abusive he was to her. They had been together for 13 years, since she was 19. It took me a long time to get her to come out with me after work, and he insisted on picking her up on the bus, which I knew was an excuse to size me up. I found out the next day he said I looked slutty because I had on winged eyeliner. Thankfully, she's out of that relationship now. But the stories she told me are absolutely nightmare-inducing. Scary dude.
What mild injustice was done to you as a child that you are still mad about?
During English class, this was in Sweden, English isn't my first language, my teacher challenged us to come up with English words beginning with the letter Q, and probably thought we wouldn't be able to. I said quest. My English wasn't great, but I'd just started playing Diddy's Conquest, and she didn't accept it as a word, because she didn't think it existed. I still lie awake thinking of this moment of unfair humiliation.
I begged my father to buy me the official match ball from the France '98 World Cup. I couldn't wait to be the coolest kid in the neighborhood. On the first day playing with my friends, the ball deflected on a wall surface and went over the fence of a neighbor's backyard. I went politely to ask for the ball back. This old man and his wife came up, saying it had broken their flowers, and the guy sliced the ball open with a big knife. I was so devastated, I played with it for about an hour. They are now much older, and I don't think they recognize me. But one day, I know the universe shall make things right.
When I was in grade 3, I really wanted to buy a DS, but my parents did not want to get me one. I really don't know why. So I made all sorts of promises and worked my ass off, until finally, my parents caved in and promised to buy me one for my next birthday. Unfortunately, my next birthday wasn't until halfway through the next year, when I would be in grade 5. Unfazed, I was tireless in my efforts to ensure that this promise would be kept, and that I would have my DS. There were a few close calls here and there, but I made it through and finally received a brand new Nintendo DS for my 11th birthday. Yet, the worst was still to come. As I played to my heart's content, which was limited to 2 hours a week as per the agreements I had made, my sister, 5 years younger than I, grew jealous. Being the good brother that I was, I shared the DS. Yet, that was not enough to quell her envy, and she soon turned on our parents in order to get her own DS. Life is not fair, and that was the lesson I learned on my sister's birthday later that year. My parents had gotten my sister her own DS on her 6th birthday. There were no questions about whether she was old enough, or if she was worthy, or even of any conditions. At the same time, I was still bound by the agreements I had made over a year earlier. Looking back, I can understand that as the first child, I was essentially beta testing the parental skills of my parents. However, the story of the DS is one my parents will hear for years to come.
What's a secret you found out by accident and were never supposed to know?
Found an old diary of my mom's when I was helping her move. Found out that when she was pregnant with my brother, my dad left and said he didn't want to be married anymore as he was too young. This was 5 years before I was born, so I guess he changed his mind.
While scanning old newspapers for family info, I discovered that my great-aunt had helped a murderer escape from a mental hospital in South Carolina. She was a nurse there and fell in love with him. They got caught in Florida. She got off easy, but they gave him the chair. This was the 1920s. My mom reluctantly confirmed the story.
The pastor of a church I used to attend accidentally texted me instead of the church secretary because both our names start with M.A. The text read,
"Stop being jealous of me during the services in front of my wife. You know I only want you and will always be here for you."
I replied, "Pastor?" He replied,
"Please come see me at my office Sunday morning so I can explain."
Never went back there.
My mother remarried after my parents divorced. Sadly, to a complete moron who was only about 5 years older than me. I say that so I can say this. After that marriage went off the rails, my brother and I were helping her move. Again. We each grabbed a side of the couch and lifted. And there, on the floor, was a giant purple double-ended dildo. Needless to say, my brother turned bright red. I turned bright red, and my mom turned about 40 shades of red. I'd never seen her move as fast as she did, grabbing and hiding that thing. To this day, I still wonder why it was double-ended, and immediately stopped because I really don't want to know that kind of info about the idiot she married.
Women of Reddit, what's the most crazy girlfriend thing you've ever done?
My college ex and I broke up amicably, just going in different directions. The next guy she dated, she caught him drunkenly sleeping with her sister in her bed at her house party. She flipped. She was only about 5'2", 110, but she somehow hulked a half-full keg out of a second-story bedroom window onto the roof of his car. Legal drama galore. She called me to bail her out, and I did. I never could decide if it was a bullet dodged or if I really couldn't blame her. That was one hell of a provocation.
Ran behind his moving car, howling in the middle of traffic. We were in the middle of a massive fight in the car and called off the engagement and ended up in yelling and lots of tears. Asked him to drop me off right then and there in the middle of the road and open the door of the moving car. He hit the brakes and let me out, and I obviously slammed the door for the dramatic effect only to realize seconds later that my handbag with my phone and wallet were in the car. Hence, ran behind his moving car, howling in the middle of traffic. I just realized I am not as stable as I pretend to be.
I got broken up with. 4 months later, was out drinking nearby. Phone him up and basically tell him, I'm on my way. He put up a small fight, but in the end, begrudgingly agreed. So I stop at home, was not driving, put on my new floral dress and wedges. Really? I looked nice. I then have a friend drop me off there. Oh, and I also had a huge bottle of vodka in my purse. Despite being very inebriated already, I continued taking straight shots from it. I wake up alone in his bed and walk downstairs. The amount of hate in his eyes startled me. He began to explain how I had tried to piss in his closet, and when confronted, I cried and declared, "You don't know what it's like to be a pretty woman." I left very swiftly after I said that. I don't remember most of the night and never got the full story as he had virtually blocked me in every ways imaginable. I'm sorry, Matt.
Was hormonal and PMSing, and so my boyfriend brought me takeout from my favorite sub shop. I cried when I opened it because it was my favorite sub, but I didn't want my favorite. I wanted my second favorite sub.